Hi guys, just a quick look at Solacia, the Wizard of Doom. This is a foray by me back into the fantasy realm, and this is a proof copy of the game which has just arrived, so obviously it won't say not for resale across the front, should you buy it from Amazon. It will appear on, I think it'll appear on Wargame Vault eventually. I'm not sure whether I can put this sort of game on there, but I'll have a look into that. Maybe if you know that, you could answer that in the comments for me. But anyway, I'll look to do that, certainly. So this runs to about 60 pages, 59 pages. You've got counters in the back, as usual. My games now, quite a few of those, but they don't take a minute to slice that page out or copy it or download it from Board Game Geek when it goes up there. And just stick it onto card and cut them out. It takes about 20 minutes. Do it carefully. We've got a record sheet for the campaign. This game is an adventure, it is a campaign. You do play 5 quests in a row. You can play the quests individually, but they're probably going to be a bit easy to do that on the whole. So it should really be played as a run of 5 quests leading up to the final quest. I'll explain a bit more about that as we go. So we've got there are 14 different quests in total. You can see there quite a lot of variety. Sort of more open quests, some very much in dungeons, and some a mixture of the two there. So they're the 14 quests. The other information next to the quests as usual, that varies quest to quest. And then you've got the rules which run to, once they get going properly, probably about 20 or so pages, but as ever, nice big font, clear, and quite a few, you can see there, examples and diagrams and things, so it's not just blocks of text as you go through those. So hopefully nice and clear, one read through, and then you're on your way, because as I say, you've got most of the reminders and the order of play next to the quests as you go. Okay, so to say, this should be played as an adventure, such is the nature of fantasy games, I guess. The idea is that you control 4 heroes and you take them through 5 quests in total, and you have to get your heroes through the quest in order to be successful. So for example, on this one, you would start down the bottom of the map here and you move your quests up to the exit hex, and then you move on to the next quest. You can see what happens is you decide which quest you play first randomly with this chart here, which is on the campaign rules, the adventure rules. So you roll a d6, and a 5 here would tell you to go to quest 1C. Okay, so then you play quest 1C, you start heroes at the bottom, you move them up through the quest map. You'll be facing enemies and traps that appear on these numbered hexes. There are shrines here which can do various things, such as heal your heroes, even bring them back to life. And there will be chests as well dotted around where you can find upgraded or upgrades for your heroes, such as items and other attributes. So the idea is you level up your heroes as you go, and you do this within the 10 turn limit for the quest. If you get beyond 10, it's an automatic fail, but the Wizard of Doom begins to rain evil on you, and you have to roll each turn you take beyond that, and that can harm or even kill your heroes. So best to get it done quickly, but it's not a sort of automatic cut-off point. So you're against the clock to some degree. If you are successful, and being successful just means you get at least 1 hero off the top of the map there. You don't have to get all 4 off, but obviously the fewer you have, the harder it is. So you move your heroes to the top, and as soon as they land on the exit hex, they are removed from the quest. So again, you've got to time that correctly so as not to leave any of your heroes in too much peril. Once you're off this map, you don't have to clear all the enemies, you just got to get through it. You again roll a d6, and for example here, 3 to 4 takes you to quest 2B. So then you page forward beyond 2A to 2B, and then you'll be playing this quest next, and so on. Okay, then you get to the quests number 3, quests numbered 4A, B, C, and then the final quests are 5A and 5B, just 2 of those because you won't get there every time. But if you do get there, the objective then is to eliminate the Wizard of Doom, who begins on this top hex here. So there's 1 open quest and one in the dungeon. So again, you roll randomly for that, see which one you are facing. And here the aim is just to kill the Wizard of Doom. If you do that, then you free the lands of the wizard and return the gold to the villagers, and you are successful. And the quest or the adventure record sheet can be completed as you go through. Again, I'll put that on Board Game Geek. You can see an example here. So you circle the quest number that you are doing. What is a win? Was it a win or a loss? Obviously, if it's a loss, then your game is over. The only way to lose a quest is if all your heroes are killed. If they are all killed, then the whole adventure comes to an end at that point. If you get at least one hero through, then you can go on to the next quest. And you can record here their status, whether they were killed, injured, and which items they have found, which power-ups or which upgrades, I should say, they have found in chests as they go through. Useful, I think, if you're not going to play all 5 at once. Now, each quest doesn't take that long, sort of 10 to 20, 25 minutes, probably tops, maybe half an hour max, if you get bogged down. So, you know, you can probably run through 5, certainly in an hour or two. But if you did want to stop at any point, then this can be useful just to record where you are at that point as you go. It's not necessary if you're going to play all at once, or even, you know, you can just keep the heroes that are still alive in a bag and make a quick note somewhere of who's injured and so on. When you finish a quest, you start the next one in the same state. So, for example, you know, anyone who's dead stays dead, and anyone who has found items keeps those items. If they're injured, they remain injured, and you start the next quest in that same state. But you can heal, as I say, at these shrines, and you can also resurrect your fellow adventurers at the shrines as well. So there are things you can do to rectify matters if they go wrong. The mage is probably your most useful character. She is has the power to do magic, of course, and she can do various spells. So she gets to roll a d6 every turn to see what she can do, and she can do various attack spells. She can freeze enemies, she can teleport herself and heroes around, she can even sort of force enemies back, and she can heal as well, herself and other heroes, one or two other things. So you know, she can do a few different things. So she's probably the most useful, but she's also the one that the enemies like to attack in priority if they can, so you have to be a bit careful with her. The elf has a ranged attack. Apart from that, nothing too special about her. The warrior is, as you'd expect, the kind of main hand-to-hand combatant, and is pretty good at that. The thief, on the other hand, is not quite so powerful as a warrior, but still face-to-face or hand-to-hand, and but can do a special attack as well. So it's a little bit different. Okay, so when they're injured, when they're hit first time by an enemy, they become injured, and then they are killed if they are hit again before they have a chance to heal. So that's how it works. As I say, each run through will be different because you're playing 5 randomly selected quests. As there are 14, there are 3 of each of quests 1 to 4, and then 2 of the final quest, so there are 14 altogether. So plenty of variety. You're unlikely to ever play the same game twice, and each quest plays out very differently. The system generally is like Fields of Normandy if you've played that one, but it's not the same. So for example, here you can choose which actions you undertake. You don't roll dice to determine which actions are available to you. So you do get that freedom to choose. Enemies also appear all over the place, not just on pre-selected question marks. So they appear randomly. And to say the turn counter is not fatal. If you get to the end, you can carry on beyond that. It's also very much a campaign, very much an adventure campaign, something you should be played as a string of quests. Although of course Fields of Normandy can be played like that, especially Fields of Normandy 2. Okay, so that's how it works. You've got terrain as well, of course, so you know, you've got higher ground and trees and water and buildings and so on, so that, you know, all has effect, and fences, that has effect. They all have effect on movement and attacks and defense ratings and so on. So that's all part and parcel of it. The enemies, a variety of enemies will come at you. The AI is fairly simple to operate. They do move around, so whilst they appear randomly, then enemies will move. Some will come after you, some will move randomly, some are hand to hand, fighters, if you like. Some will attack you from range, and one or two have their own sort of special way of doing things, like ghosts will try to land on the same hex as heroes and sort of haunt them, if you like, or attack them, and then they disappear if they do that. Wizards can conjure up enemies. The Wizard of Doom can also conjure up enemies, but can do one or two other things as well. Some enemies fly, so they can cross water and fences, which generally can't be crossed. So, you know, there's plenty of variety here, and the enemies you face completely random. It differs. This enemy chart differs for each quest. So you will face a different selection of enemies for each quest. And quests, as they do play out very differently. And I played this quest 1A twice yesterday, for example, as part of final play testing. And the first time I got through with just 2 heroes left alive, and I didn't manage to open any chests. It was all a bit of a nightmare. Whereas the second time I played it, all 4 heroes came through it nice and in full health, and with a couple of I found a couple of upgrades there as well. So, you know, things do play out differently depending on how things turn out as you go. So that is Solacia, the Wizard of Doom. It's a solitaire fantasy game, and it's available on, or will be available very soon after this video is published, on Amazon as usual. Cheers guys.